Hi, the current event I chose to talk about today was the hypothetical overturning of same sex marriage laws. Now, this was presented by a woman named Kim Davis, and she basically went to the Supreme Court with a formal appeal. She made a formal appeal to them to overturn this human right. And this was because she worked as a local clerk in her area, and she was the only one with the right to give out marriage licenses, and she denied one to a same sex couple. Because of this, because she denied them their human right of marriage, she was sentenced to jail time, and she was also given a substantial fine by the couple and their attorney, which she did not want to pay. She had previously made an appeal, but it was rejected, and this happened in the news. The second one happened recently this year. It was around the beginning or middle of August when this hit the news. Now, I found it through online sources like TikTok and Instagram, but when I look it up on news, the first news article that popped up for me was from ABC. That was one of the oldest ones I could find, but this was also reported by ABC. It was reported by ABC, but it was also reported by PBS, NBC, and even Fox News. This did start out as a local issue because she refused to do her job in her local area, and at first she presented the idea of overturning it just in her area, but not really overturning the right, but to make it to where it was like less of a it was more federal, so each state could determine if they would accept same-sex marriage or if they would choose to not recognize it. But then she said that she would like this to be treated as the overturning of Roe v. Wade, where it was brought up into consideration, and initially the Supreme Court decided to overturn the right. So this was her second one, as I said, and it does relate to the class of sexuality because marriage really is an important milestone for a lot of people, and as well as people in same-sex relationships, they want to openly express themselves and their devotion to their spouse, and they might really see this as an important step for them to express their sexual identity and to be able to openly live with their sexuality. It also relates to class because, as we discuss in some of our sections in the book, sexuality is more than attraction and feelings. It also includes behavior, and marriage might be the behavior or the action that certain queer people need to feel affirmed in their relationship and feel affirmed that their relationship is recognized by the government. I thought that this was really just a scary topic of discussion because it would make it to where new queer couples would not be able to have a legally binding same-sex marriage, and they would not be recognized by the government. But they did say that even if it were overturned, existing same-sex marriages would still be recognized, but the youth would be the ones who might not be recognized. And I thought that this was really scary because some queer people are estranged from their families because of their identity, and so if they were to be incapacitated or unable to speak for themselves in a medical emergency or something like that, then they would have to rely on their family because their chosen family, the people they chose to marry, or their friends would not legally have the right to speak on their behalf. And that is a reason I hear a lot of queer people say as to why they choose to get married, just so that they can legally have someone that they really trust to leave their life in their hands. I also thought it was scary news for women in particular as an even more diverse area of people because queer women already experienced the overturning of Roe v. Wade, so they witnessed some of their rights being taken away. So for the prospect of them to see both being taken away in their lifetime is really frightening, and I know that was a lot of the conversations I had been hearing online when I first heard about this. I also thought that the current political climate had something to do with probably why she felt so confident to say these things, why Davis felt so confident to say these things and suggest it be overturned similarly to Roe v. Wade. I think with the rise of conservative beliefs being in the mainstream and being talked about more openly and speaking out against trans people is really what made her feel comfortable to say these sort of things. And I think my bias towards progression really made me not want to consider her beliefs at all. And I do think that this is an important thing to talk about because it is important to sexuality, the way that people are able to express their sexuality, and if that might be in jeopardy or not.